Hello everyone. Welcome once again to our monthly Twitter space. My name is Erwin, and I'll be your host for today. A little about me: I'm a computer science major at Rowan University with a minor in social change and social justice. I'm very dedicated to using my technical skills and knowledge to addressing social pressing issues when it comes to the community. I currently work with the Office of Social Justice, Conflict Resolution, and at, as the undergraduate program coordinator, and I'm also an active board member for two clubs on my campus, which is the American Conservation Coalition branch at Rowan University, where I hold the position of the social media chair, and also part of the its honors chapter at Rowan University, where I hold the position of the center. In addition, I'm the current content creator of Assorted Trends Africa. So before we begin, I just wanted to give you a brief intro about Assorted Trends, what it does, and what we're basically known for. So Assorted Trends Africa is a non-profit social enterprise organization which is based in Kayunga, Uganda. It's dedicated to empowering marginalized women, young people, and young people in rural communities. We are very excited that we'll be celebrating 5 years by October, and we're kind of transitioning into this new phase in regards to our thematical areas. So currently, we have three major thematical areas, which we trying to integrate what we call She Innovates Academy, which will be our technical vocational education and training program aimed at empowering women, school rural women with a diverse set of skills, knowledge, and resources. So it will also offer them training in weaving, hairdressing, tailoring, ICT, sexual reproductive health and rights, mental health, and business management. She Innovates Academy will seek to equip participants with the tools they need to improve mostly like their livelihoods, gain independence, and contribute positively to their communities respectively. Then our other thematic area we have is the super team, which is the sexual reproductive health and rights program, mostly focuses on young young students in schools. Lastly, we have my favorite, which is the West for Change. This is a 5 year comprehensive program that has really aimed at combating climate change and ensuring environmental sustainability by addressing the social pressing issues when it comes to plastic waste pollution through recycling. This program will has focused mainly on empowering rural uh, in and out of school unemployed uh, young mothers or young individuals with recycling skills, fostering sustainable practices, and driving a positive change in their communities. Also, this program aligns with the global efforts to mitigate climate change, achieve the sustainable development goals, which are the SDGs. So I'm delighted today to introduce our panel, where we have at Fura Manjo, sorry about that, who is the founder and team leader of the Georgia Women Foundation, an organization that aims to empower marginalized women and girls in rural Uganda through business development, education support, training in sexual and reproductive health, and also gender mainstreaming. We also have my friend here, Innocent Taylor Segbia, who is an international relations and international business scholar, a global youth ambassador for Their World, which is a global children's charity committed to ending the global education crisis and unleashing potential of the next generation. He's also a very prominent human rights activist and a prominent no support. I forgot about your uh, football team. I don't know if it's Arsenal or Manu, but that's that. We also have Nakalima Shakira, a prominent businesswoman and human rights advocate when it comes to feminism and all those aspects. Yeah. So as we all know, it's always crucial that we address the disparities that continue to persist uh, between all genders. Today we'll explore the intricacies of this major issue through our discussion of our topic, gender divide, which is exploring the impact of stereotyping when it comes to women's empowerment, which will unravel its causes, consequences, and collectively at least envision a more equitable future for when it comes to all men and women, all other genders. With that, I will invite, I think, our first speaker, that is Manjari, to give us their own comprehensive understanding when it comes to gender divide. A quick house rules. At least each speaker will be given at least 5 to 6 minutes because we have different sections to discuss upon during this Twitter space and also create more time for probably questions or something of the sort. So I will invite Marjorie to give us a comprehensive understanding, her comprehensive understanding when it comes to gender divide. Marjorie, can you hear me? I think here you could speak as I try to get in touch with Marjorie.
Yes, hi, Erwin. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, that's perfect.
You could speak. I think Marjorie will come in a little bit later as I try to get in touch with her.
Oh, okay, sure, that's fine. So to everyone on this space, I'm profoundly honored and exceedingly humbled to be part of this conversation that is so important. Today we're going to explore a very essential subject that is called gender equality, but it will be rotating around stereotypes that women are facing in different communities. So as different stakeholders in this world, it is our collective responsibility to ensure that we achieve gender equality by 2030. If you look at the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, the UN came up with a development agenda in 2015 rather, that was supposed to run for 15 years, 2015 to 2030, and that is SDGs. So SDG 5, because the goals are 17, but SDG 5 talks about gender equality, which is about empowering women and girls. So we all know that women in our societies or communities face different stereotypes, and it is upon us to challenge these stereotypes to ensure that there is equal treatment from each and everyone. And we have also to understand that women's rights are, you know, human rights. So, as activists, as academia, as elites, as politicians, as common people, as different parts of stakeholders, we believe that this conversation is important for us to always engage in. So at times it is because of lack of knowledge that these stereotypes have been not challenged in our communities. But once we come and share insights on how we can confront these challenges, then I think we can build a better world for each and everyone. We all know that women are also women. play a very key role in terms of building peaceful societies. So, as a marginalized community, we cannot leave it behind. As the slogan of the UN says, leaving no one behind, we believe that we shall all do whatever it takes to ensure that we're moving at the same pace. So, for too long, women have paid a very huge price for the male inaction. So, we believe that that has to change, and it should change with our generation, because if it doesn't change, then it means that future generations are going to face the same challenges that women today are facing. So, as people who believe that we need a better world, we should always do the needful to ensure that we tackle all these challenges. We are going to engage in today with different speakers. I saw the host will be Aaron, and uh, I will be part of the speakers plus Shakira, and the host will tell us more information about the different speakers, because it's going to be my first time to interact with them. But it is a blessing to have a conversation with them, to be also a platform for us to learn and unlearn about this topic of gender equality. As the space is titled, Gender Divide: Exploring Stereotypings Toll on Women's Empowerment. So we shall look at different things: women in tech, women in business, women in politics, women in education sector, women in all sectors. What challenges are they facing, and what could be the problems that that are going uh, that will need our immediate response. So, as you might know, that the challenges may be different for those who are living in low development countries compared to those that are living in developed countries. So, and also it will bring in an aspect of culture, because it plays a key role. So, some of our culture beliefs are kind of rigid. So, how can we change them to ensure that women are empowered at different fronts? Um, as we wait for the host, I don't know his their plan for today's space, but I encourage all of us on this space to share it on your platforms and invite different people to engage in this conversation, so that we can benefit from each and everyone's knowledge about this subject, because it is broad and it is complex. But we shall, at the end of the day, find remedies that are going to ensure that we build a better world for each and everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, Hillary. Getting some issues with uh, the speakers in Uganda saying that they have issues with their connections. Hopefully, they will be able to fix on with that. I had like given a brief intro when it came to our speakers. I don't know that that went through. Just to be brave. We have one of them is Atfura Manjuri, who is on, but she's still having connection problem. She's the founder and team lead of Geja Women Foundation, and also we have Nakalima Shakira, a businesswoman and also a human rights advocate. Hopefully, she will be joining us later. Um, our topic today, revolving around gender divide, which, as I was trying to say earlier, it kind of explores the impact of stereotyping on women's empowerment. The term itself, gender divide, kind of, to me, means unequal distribution of resources, opportunities, and power between like different genders. It often like results into what we call this disparities in various aspects of life. So this divide kind of is mostly primarily associated with cisgender male and cisgender women, but it's also very important, as you mentioned before, to note that gender is a complex and multifaceted concept that kind of extends beyond a binary understanding of what male and female is. It includes like a spectrum of identities, expressions, and experiences. The key areas where I think gender divide manifests
in my own understanding, would be, as you mentioned, yeah, before this, you mentioned about economic disparities, where like on average women tend to like earn less than women. This, I think, mostly is mostly known as gender, like a gender pay gap in most cases. And then we have education in some parts of the world. An example of Uganda, where like girls and women are mostly have historically faced barriers when it comes to accessing education, because they are, seen like they are mostly viewed as marriage materials or something of the sort. We also have healthcare. Gender differences kind of can also be seen in healthcare access and outcomes. Women, like for the case of, I'll give a general case of trans women who kind of have barriers to accessing reproductive health services in some countries. Also, here in the US, a huge case in Uganda currently because of the recent anti-homosexuality bill. We also have political representation. Women, in most cases, are often underrepresented, and in the case of representation, um, it it feels unright for some cases, because some women who are in higher position tend to, stand with, the misogynistic, sexist males in power, which makes it difficult. So I'll go on to our next aspect of our topic, which is forms. I think it was forms of gender stereotyping. Yeah. So here, would you expand and elaborate more on that when it comes to the forms of gender stereotyping and how these affect women when it comes to their empowerment?
Yes, Owen, thank you so much for the invitation to the space. I'll formally introduce myself, Hilary Innocent Taylor Seguia, a human rights activist and a champion of sustainable development goals, mainly SDG 4, SDG 5, 7, 13, and 16. This topic is very important for today's conversation, and we all believe that women's rights are human rights, but the gender disparities that we are seeing today, of course, bring us today in this space for a conversation on how we can confront them, because gender equality is essential to the achievement of all the sustainable development goals, which are 17. So these global challenges that are being faced by women, they need a clear roadmap of targeted interventions and policy reforms, because we all believe that empowering women will help us to spur productivity and economic growth. And if we also look at what the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said some time back, that achieving gender equality and empowering women and girls is the unfinished business of our time and the greatest human rights challenge in the world. So we've all seen from childhood how women have and girls have been stereotyped, and we also believe that everyone is affected by this gender inequality that we're talking about today. Whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, whether you're trans, whether you're gender diverse person, whether you're a child or you're a family person, we're all affected by this problem of gender inequality. Amongst the few examples I would share. By the way, before I go to that, I hope by the time we finish this, in a few minutes, our colleagues will be able to join the space to make it more inclusive and also hear from the other speakers. Everyone has talked about from Uganda, uh, the women from Uganda, so that we can also hear first-hand information from them. So, as an activist who is currently based in Boston, Massachusetts, USA, I'll share a few of the gender stereotypes we've seen basically in three categories, because we have to look at it at the level of the early years, then look at it towards the youth stage, and also at the level of adults. These things have been seen, and we are seeing, women being told that they don't need equal pay because they are supported by their partners in, relationships. Then we've seen also stereotypes like women, men don't cry like women. So some people believe that it is women who have to cry, which is factually incorrect. We've seen also women being told that they belong in the home or in the kitchen, which is wrong, that we have to challenge. We've had, girls being told that they cannot, they should play with dolls, and boys should play with trucks. So being said that boys should be directed to like color blue and green, while girls towards pink and red. Things like boys should not wear dresses or clothes typically associated with girls. Things like girls are better at reading and boys are better at maths. Girls should be well behaved and boys are expected to act. Things like women or girls are not allowed to inherit property in some of our cultures. You've seen it in many of the Ugandan cultures and different parts of the world. So things like girls should be thin and beautiful to make themselves, appealing to men. All those are stereotypes. There are also examples like women are too emotional to undertake certain kinds of work, especially while they are pregnant. Or if you look at women in heterosexual couples, they are told that they should take off some time to take care of the children and the elders. And if you look at also the transgender or the gender non-conforming persons, they are saying that they are profoundly wrong. So you've had things like same-sex couples cannot make good parents. There is, something wrong with a woman who doesn't want to have children or get married. So all these kinds of stereotypes, of course, they are making us lag behind because we need to progress and move forward. But we cannot move forward until we openly look at these images that we've been having from our childhoods to ensure that we confront them and treat, women or the trans women or non-conforming persons with the equal treatment, the way we are looking at, other genders. So that's why we believe that as concerned persons in this world, as an activist, Hillary, recently I was seeing the Women's World Cup. You saw how they were attacking the Nigerian female footballer, Asisat Oshaola, because after scoring her goal, she removed off the shirt and she was celebrating for, Nigeria winning against Australia. And most of, our African men, mainly, they were, criticizing Asisat for removing his shirt to celebrate a goal. So that was kind of hypocrisy, because if men can celebrate, goals after scoring, because we've seen it with soccer players like Ronaldo, Mbappe, or Neymar, or Messi, they can, remove shirts and celebrate their goals freely. But when it comes to a woman, men are drawing a line. So that is not right. We should let women, celebrate the way they want to celebrate, or dress the way they want to dress, because that is what we call liberty. So we cannot say that men have more rights than other, genders. So when it comes to politics, you've seen also different challenges women are facing. I'll begin with an example here in America. You saw if you go back in 2016, the former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was running for president against the former president Donald J. Trump, and most conservative men in America were against Hillary Clinton. They were saying that she cannot become a female president of America. Yet we said this is the land of the free. But today we are finding many men in America who cannot, you know, who cannot accept that a woman can be a very good leader. It can even become even a better leader than a man. So when it comes to such things, we have to challenge them. And if you look at also, because we've seen how women have performed, if you go to countries like New Zealand with their Prime Minister Jacinda, we saw how she was, you know, containing COVID-19 during the lockdown of the pandemic, because New Zealand was one of the best countries that were, uh, at their maximum point of containing COVID-19. So she did very well as a woman, but very few, of course, persons will acknowledge that because she's a woman. You've seen how women have been challenged in political offices because they are, the way they speak, or at times uh, they comment about their temperament. You saw how, still back to the US, Hillary Clinton was negatively attacked that she has a higher temperament. Yet we had the rhetoric of other competitors like Donald J. Trump, who could speak even crazy words with a very high temperament, but he could not get the same type of judgment in public. So we have to challenge these things. And if you look at also, say, like the transgender women, they're also facing a different type of challenge in this world today. You've seen how they've been denied to participate in sports, they've been denied to participate in beauty pageants. So all those are different challenges we have to confront openly and find remedies to. And back to our country, Uganda. Yes, you see that, of course, we have women who have joined active politics, and it's mainly because of the affirmative action that at least today each district can have a woman representative in the parliament, which wasn't the case some decades like two decades ago. So that brings women issues on the agenda of national policies, on the agenda of global policies, to ensure that nobody's left behind. And yes, it's good that we have the vice president as a woman. We have the prime minister of Uganda as a woman. We have the speaker of parliament as a woman. I think the second deputy prime minister of Uganda as a woman. So these are some of the key challenges the key successes that we've seen. But it also has some challenges because some of them are in power, but they don't have in positions, but they don't have power. So we want women to be fully, given that power. So if you're vice president of Uganda, you should have the power of your office. If you're the prime minister of Uganda, let them give you the power to do your job without any limitations. If you look at representations, of course, in our parliaments, it is still low because we are pushing for this agenda of 50-50 equal representation in parliament, but most African countries are still behind. I think it is Rwanda that is leading in this in this struggle of promoting gender equality. At least they have that equation of over 50% in their parliament. In Uganda, it is still kind of low. So we have to push for better strategies to ensure that this is achieved, and we believe it is possible to achieve once we collectively work together. Yeah, for now, I can, I think, share that.
Um, Thank you, Hilary. I remember I saw an interview. I would say I saw some video on TikTok, and they're trying to interview some Republicans at a rally. I think that was back then when Hillary was running with Trump, and they asked one of them, and they were like, "Why do you think Hillary shouldn't run as a president?" So what the person replied was that because the Bible says women should be submissive to men, which is correct. That's in Ephesians. But I feel like, and this was a woman speaking about that, like if a woman speaking against a woman that they shouldn't be president since they should be submissive to men, it brings in the aspect that some women are literally groomed to believe that they have the problem. No offense, which kind of brings like drives us back. This stereotype of telling women what they should be as like they make an environment or like a place comfortable for men or something of the sort
Mm.
is really kind of toxic and just spreads, misinformation or something of the sort. It's something that is also much more common in Uganda because women are like kind of try a lot to please or like have this I don't know, like good judgment from men on how they present themselves. I'll try to invite Marjorie because I think she's on. I don't know if she can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, hey, Marjorie. I thank you so much for coming on. Here I was trying to elaborate on their understanding when it comes to gender divide, and also he elaborated more on the different forms of stereotypes when it comes to women empowerment. So, could you give us your own insight when it comes to understanding gender divide and the different forms of stereotyping, which are in regards to women's empowerment?
Good evening, gentlemen. I guess I'm the only lady so far. My name is Majo, and I'm glad to be here today. I'm actually on hospital bed. I'm admitted, but I hope it will be a smooth talk. From my own perspective, gender divide or the stereotypes surrounding women empowerment, I would clearly begin to say that they begin from home, in our homes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Marjorie.
Okay. Where we are brought up with the male and female, especially in the African setting, when you have girls at home and you also have boys at home, they will always be, in some homes, not all, there will always be that gap. Girls are the ones that cook, boys are the ones that sit, things like that. Or boys are the ones that do the heavy work, girls are the ones that do the soft work. So I would generally blame it on how we are groomed from home. And then it goes on growing until some of us are no longer controllable and we become problems in the society. To women empowerment, if I've grown up, especially in a family where I'm always told that the end goal for me as a girl is to get married, I may not have the vigor to thrive, to tell myself maybe I can come out of this box and do something else, because I was told maybe from childhood. But there are some families that are also working real good to make sure that this does not hinder the separation between girls and boys. For example, I grew up in a family where all of us were equal. If you are to fetch water, all of us will fetch water. If it is to split firewood, all of us will split firewood. We never had boy and girls. But now I speak for families where a man is told that they are the man. Just like also the previous speaker said that women are supposed to be submissive as it is in the Bible. Some of us use these things to just dehumanize or make others feel belittled. Yeah, I think for now I can stop there unless when there's a
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
question.
Thank you, Marjorie. Sorry to hear about you being sick. Hopefully you recover soon. I've also been down because of COVID, but I'm starting to feel better. I like your example when it comes to African tradition society. How these different divisions are made. Like we kind of tend to, teach our children, or we're all taught about these gender roles, what the men should do or what the boys should do in a family, which in turn kind of affects it. It either builds what we call people who are like sexist, you know, being grown up like I'm a man and all that, and women should be the ones cook or something of the sort, kind of like bridges the destroys the bridge when it comes to the whole aspect of gender equality or gender divide. I wanted us to talk more when it comes to what are the impacts or challenges of stereotyping on women's empowerment, because we understand especially gender-based stereotypes can have like a significant and like both significant and detrimental impacts on women's empowerment. These stereotypes are often like deeply ingrained in cultural beliefs, as you mentioned before, our religious beliefs, or even our society itself. These assumptions, vary from our roles, behaviors, and also like the capabilities of what women can do in society. So here, could you, give us some challenges you think, or like the impact of stereotyping on women's empowerment? And then we'll have Marjorie step in after.
Well, thank you for that question, and quick recovery to both of you, Marjorie and Iran. As Marjorie has shared that gender inequality or these stereotypes begin from our homes. It is indeed true that if we are to bring any fundamental change, the change should begin also from our homes. It goes to the community level, then the country level, regional and global level. If we were to look at the report that was released recently by UN Women and UNDP in July 2023, it clearly stated that no country has achieved full gender parity. It also states that less than 1% of women and girls live in a country with high women's empowerment and a small gender gap. So this, of course, is a huge thing that we have to talk about, because your question was about like how are these stereotypes impacting women's empowerment. One, they are leaving women behind, because if the agenda of the UN, which has 194 member states, and they're all agreeing that by the end of this decade, we should be achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Mainly relating on this issue, it is SDG 5, which talks about achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. It shows that we need to challenge these stereotypes with one goal, to stop them and make sure that women come at the front lines and also at the equal level with other genders. Now, if we are to look at the gender gap, women and girls, of course, they should be made visible. But with these stereotypes, they are making them invisible, which is a huge challenge in today's world. So gender should be mainstreamed to ensure that they will bring this visibility to the women and girls. Now, if you look at sectors like politics, because the more we stereotype women, of course, it means that we are hindering them from actively participating in the political arena. Yet we need them to come on board and be part of the solutions to the challenges we are facing. So that's why we need them to come on the table. In business, if you look at the private sector, I see that we still have a few women who are CEOs of many companies that we have today in the world. So part of it is because of these stereotypes that we are seeing, or we've partly shared about today. So overall, these stereotypes at times also lead to mental anguish, because imagine you're a trans woman and you're denied, participation in a sport that is your favorite, or you're denied to participate in a beauty pageant. So that, of course, is going to cause anguish to you. If you also look at the education sector, because today we are living in an education crisis. As a champion of SDG 4, our goal is to ensure, under an organization called Their World, our aim is to ensure that we bring the 270 million, children who are out of school because of different push and pull barriers back to school and learn to realize their potential. But the more stereotypes we see today in the world, of course, it means that it's leaving many children out of school. So some cultures believe that a girl child does not belong to school. They should go for marriage. So they are looking at a girl child as a bride price. So such stereotypes are affecting, they're denying a girl child to have a formal education, to come up with informed decisions. So now we are saying that if we don't confront these challenges, then we're going to leave these children, mainly the girl child, out of school, which is unfair. So can we look on when a girl child is sent to collect firewood while the boy child is sent to study? That is not okay with us. So that's why I believe that everyone in this space can do anything to ensure that we confront these challenges, beginning from our homes, as Marjorie said, that these challenges are beginning from there. Now, when it comes to the access to technology, of course, you'll see that also women are heavily impacted because there is that disparity of not accessing maybe internet, and of course going to hinder them to take on subjects in STEM. Yet we would love women to be involved in technology, to be involved maybe in ICT, to be involved in mathematics, to ensure that they can do the same jobs like men can do. So in order to remove that stereotype that women cannot take on certain kinds of jobs because they lack skills, so we need to ensure that we shouldn't leave them behind, not to access or to embrace this digital age and technology. It also causes, of course, some harassment, because hearing these stereotypes, mainly in today's world whereby democracy has moved online and the entire world is moving online, you see like the business opportunities, education, entertainment, everything has literally moved online. In the end, we're seeing lots of cases of, internet harassment and abuse of women because some people don't care about what they say on these digital spaces or social media platforms, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, X, name it. So because of these stereotypes, of course, we need to have that radical shift to confront them and stop the harassment that the women and other genders are facing on the internet, because it will not enable us to achieve gender equality if such challenges are going, without our attention. So in sports, as we said, women, of course, at times it can bring their morale down, because you've seen different cultures. Some women or girls want to participate, say, in sports like boxing. And some parents are saying, no, boxing is for the boy child. You cannot, fight as a girl. So at times it's going to, bring your morale down. Instead of believing in yourself that you can do the same thing as a man, you can fight as a man. So they are denying you that thing. If it comes to jobs, at times they are telling you that women cannot drive trucks. But here in America, you've seen how women are driving trucks. They are engineers. They are, going to those storage buildings and they're climbing them. But some cultures they have, or some mindsets, they believe that women cannot, climb those storage buildings and tell maybe men want to do in terms of engineering. So these are challenges that, of course, need structure change if we are to get somewhere. Back to you.
Um, Thank you. Here, I wanted to just add on there's the intersection with other identities being an impact of stereotyping on women's empowerment, whereby like women from like marginalized background often like face these compounded challenges due to the intersection of gender stereotypes with other forms of identities. By that, the stereotype black women face in the US is kind of a very huge challenge, whereby they are seen as, you know, loud, they are seen as ghetto, they are seen as, you know, chaos or something of the sort, which kind of limits, you know, their image as, you know, as black women in the States. It's also like characterized with some extent of racism, and is it albinism, if I'm pronouncing that right. On addition, I wanted to add on when it comes to like the body image pressures as being an impact. Whereas I think you mentioned this earlier on here, where you mentioned about beauty standards, how they are mostly shown in media, can kind of lead to image body issues among women. This really affects their self-esteem, you know, confidence. It hinders their ability to fully participate in society. Like how people a lot of women are body shamed on the streets of Kampala, like how they look or what they are wearing. They are seen as either maybe like they are called prostitutes, like they are called malaya if they wear something short or or they wear like a trouser or something of the sort, and they are literally harassed on the streets of Kampala, and it's something which has been literally normalized. I'll call on Manjuri to shed on light when it comes to the impact of stereotyping on women's empowerment. Marjorie, if you're still on.
Yeah, I am here.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that stereotyping really affects women. Um, from a child, a girl child, let's say, who is trying to do rap at a very young age, and this girl is told that you cannot do rap because it's a boy thing. Just like you have all been saying about it, that it kills the morale, it kills the esteem of this person. Uh, I think a week ago, I'm not so sure. There are also some things that are organized, I would say, by men that are also to demean or to undermine or to make women feel bad. There's an event that was organized of recent, the Nyash Festival. In my head, I was wondering, did do we need such an event? What was the goal? What was the main objective for this event? And after that, people's pictures or women pictures are put up. Yet, okay, it might have been a fun event, a fun festival that these women were intending to attend. But in the end, for me, I saw when they are being demeaned, they are okay, it didn't sit well with me. So sometimes, many times, I'm thinking that men also, you men, you old men, because you have the biggest voice of you saying or putting things in place, structures in place. Most of the things come up with you guys. Uh, it's not only in Africa, all over the world. It's only men that sit on round tables to discuss what they will also do for women. It's only like it's okay. This world is wrong. I would say this world is really wrong. I don't know when it will turn, when the tables will turn. It can turn, I believe, if we women also come up and we begin, I don't know, we be so much energetic to stand up for our own voices. Yeah.
Thank you, Marjorie, for that insight. I'll give an example. There's this page called Galaxy FM. I don't know, Tamanja, you know that page on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes, I do.
I don't like it a lot because it literally all it's supposed. I don't know whoever sexist is running that page. It just focuses on undermining like women's bodies, like shading, like abusing how women look, or like calling either women prostitutes or something of the sort. It's entirely based on that, and I wonder, like, is it's supposed to be posting about what's happening at Galaxy, but all it does is make fun of women. And I think it also posted about that event, and posting pictures about how women are dressed or something of the sort, which is really a huge like issue because it shows women as a bad image. It kind of it's portraying its own I would say I don't know, aspect of sexism or something of the sort, which is really a bad thing. It brings me back to our last issue on the topic. We personally, I'll give an example. I grew up in a religious household, the Adventists, whereby we had, what you call church elders, and all church elders are supposed to be male. That's how it is in our church. So, and it was kind of normalized. It's okay, and the women in the church saw it as something normal, and no one said about a thing. I always had questions in my mind whereby why don't we like have a woman being an elder or even a pastor? I mean, you can be a pastor's wife, an elder's wife, but it will never make you an elder of an Adventist church. So, as I said before, it's like some of these things are groomed into like our minds. Some of the things we've grown up saying, and we've kind of taken them as being the new normal, whereby men should be in the lead and women should be, there to follow. And it's like some women, as I mentioned before, kind of see it in a way that they have to abide by the rules that are made by men or something of the sort. So, what initiatives do you think can be taken to to encounter this issue of stereotyping women? I mean, how are you going to teach someone in I'll give an example, like deep there in the village, that you're equal to your man. A woman who believes that being beaten by a man, it shows that he loves you or something of that sort. So how are you going to put an initiative on that stereotype? How are you going to find a solution to make sure such a stereotype where women feel inferior, or women that thinking in like feel being inferior to men is okay, or is a normal thing, or it's like their duty? I will begin with Hirare, then I'll go on to Marjorie. If also Motes is on, you can ask to be a speaker, because I'm seeing Youth Chepron on as one of the listeners. So Hirare, could you give us your own ideas of initiatives to stereotyping women?
Well, thanks for that question again. Back to first of all, if I can echo what you talked about, showing a linkage between race and gender disparities. I concur with you that when it comes to race and gender disparities here in America, it's also another big challenge that is affecting women, and also is affecting the world in achieving gender equality. So marginalized communities, communities of Black women, brown women, and indigenous women are mainly affected when it comes to this system of America, which needs a structure change. But to your question on how we can address these challenges we've talked about, as Marjorie said, that stereotypes begin from our homes. So I think also, since these stereotypes are about the images we're having in our minds, it's also very important for us to have a mindset change first, so that we positively look at women, or trans women, or diverse people with an open mindset, to understand that we are all born free and equal, so that we don't put barriers or look at people differently. So once we understand that in our minds and challenge the negative thoughts we have, to embrace positivity in our mindsets, it can help to bring progress on this topic that we're talking about today. So, and embracing this gender equality is not just about today, but this is about creating a fairer world of future generations. So we are looking at 1,000 years from now, how would the world be like? Will women be facing the same challenges they are facing today, or to be better because of the actions that we're taking today as different stakeholders? So, for equal and just societies, I think we men, or women also, or trans and gender diverse people, we need to collectively, match with women on the way to gender equality. So by doing different things, one, if you're looking at a community basis, say deep in Kabla-Maido, Kapchora, or Gulu, or Masakara, you can create, awareness campaigns in these communities. Talk in the language in which these communities are going to understand. Reach out to cultural leaders and have a conversation with them about these stereotypes, because at times culture is also a hindrance towards achieving gender equality. So if you see a culture beliefs that are hindering the progress of gender equality, then you can reach out maybe to clan leaders, you can reach out or to different cultural leaders, religious leaders, and have a conversation with them, an open conversation. In the first, it may be challenging, but the more you engage them, of course, you will see that people change, because change comes in a gradual process. People will not change immediately. It takes time, but the more you engage them, we shall see that mindset change. So we have also to ensure that women and girls are living in dignity and respect. So in your community, in your houses or in your homes, if you see, your brothers having negative stereotypes uh, about women, be the change, confront them and challenge them immediately. Don't wait to ensure that they do the right thing, other than leaving them to think that what they're doing is right. So where you see something wrong, speak up and challenge it immediately. We have also to promote equal pay in sports, because today we've seen that women, mainly in sports, are being earning, well, actually everywhere, not sports alone. You might find that women are doing the same job that men are doing, but they're earning less because of their gender. Or so we have to challenge that and promote equal pay. You've seen, Aaron, how here in America, the women's soccer team is having, because the men's soccer team in America has been winning World Cup, but the men's team has never won World Cup. Unsurprisingly, the men's team is earning more wages compared to what the women are earning, which is unfair. So when you see these campaigns coming up, come on board and be part of these campaigns also, to amplify the voices of equal payment in sports, in the private sector, in education sector, in different sectors, in agriculture sector, to ensure that women can earn as the same amount as men are earning. When it comes to education, we have to also ensure that we are keeping the girl child in school. As Nelson Mandela Madiba said, that education is the most powerful weapon that can change the world. So keeping the girl child out of school, of course, is going to affect her her growth, and also the way she perceives or she looks at the world. At times, they're going to have these teenage pregnancies simply because they're out of school, and different men are taking advantage of them in communities. So if you keep them in school, of course, they'll have informed decisions and avoid teenage pregnancies, so that they can become better leaders in the world. So because today, as we speak, we have 118.5 million girls globally who are out of school. So it is our collective responsibility again under SDG 4, which is access to quality education, to ensure that we bring these girls back to school. Of course, there are many challenges that are keeping them out of school. There are challenges like the cost of the menstrual products, which has, of course, to be challenged also, and ensure that girls can have access to free or affordable uh, hygiene products, so that they don't keep out of school, to have the same learning opportunities like other genders that are being kept in school. So in the campaigns, last time you told me, and I saw the Trends Africa, you have that campaign of teaching um, young girls and women how to do reusable sanitary pads. That is a good initiative because you're helping to keep a girl child in school. Here in America, I've seen also different girls. I mean, I've seen a colleague. She was at Harvard, and she came up with these tampons that are reusable. So after using them, I just put them in hot water, and I mean, they melt, so that they are safely decomposed. But she's providing them to the girl child at a very low cost, to ensure that they are not being affected by these challenges that we're talking about today. Then we also have to celebrate the achievements of women that we are seeing today, because it plays a key role once you celebrate everyone's achievement. So if you see women in your community or in your country achieving something, celebrate with them, to ensure that we empower more young women or people with diverse genders to come and also embrace the footsteps of the people we are celebrating, and also lift them up. So for the women who are going to political offices of maybe higher levels, say you're the vice president, you're the speaker, you're the prime minister in Uganda, for the sake, we have to encourage them to also put ladders to these women at the bottom, so that they can also climb up to where they are. So we shouldn't just celebrate women who have reached on top, but we should encourage them also to give a hand to all the women that they've left at the bottom, to ensure that everyone is helped to get empowered collectively. We have to, if it comes to affirmative action, of course, we can push for more affirmative action in different areas, because if it's going to help us achieve gender equality, then that's a good thing that we should push for, to ensure that we're on the same pace with the agenda of the UN. Also with our development programs, we have the Uganda National Development Program that also tackles the issue of gender equality. When it comes to the digital movement, I believe it is our role still to make this environment safe for women and girls, to ensure that they are not facing this digital harassment that we've talked about. So also providing accessible skilling and trainings to the women in communities is very important. And at times we tend to leave out women with disabilities. So we have also to be inclusive in these campaigns. If you're having a campaign in your country or in your community, uh, you know, make it as inclusive as you can to ensure that everyone is brought on table. So that will help us to, of course, increase access to technology, because technology is going to help us improve in terms of education, in terms of business and everything. Then let's also encourage women to take up, interest in STEM, because STEM is the future. As you've heard, different leaders, they're encouraging everyone to embrace, STEM. So that is technology, engineering, math. Let's ensure that also we have women embracing this to ensure that they're empowered. So I think, what else can I talk about? I think basically that's it.
Thank you here. I think the issue of diversity has become a problem here in the States as far I've seen it. I mean, you talked about inclusivity, when it comes to women who are disabled or who are different. And I just wanted your elaboration on that, because the whole division, I mean, I work with the Division of Equity and Inclusion at Toronto University, and the whole division of equity and inclusion in all departments of the states is literally under attack. Like, people are seeing it as a matter of division, a matter of, they're calling it discrimination, because they feel like when it comes to inclusivity or diversity, it's pushing them away. Like, some white people, that's what they feel. They think, when you bring in the aspect of including all different people, different backgrounds, sexuality, gender, and all that, they feel like they are being discriminated on the aspect of inclusivity and diversity. What do you think about that before I proceed with something else?
Yes, I've had different perspectives. People saying at times, some people are calling it reverse discrimination, simply because we are calling for inclusivity. But in the end, of course, these are people who have been, feeling that they have that sense of entitlement. So if you're a man and a woman takes your job, then you're like, oh, this woman has taken my job. So in their mind, they feel like they have the job belongs to them, which is wrong. So it is inevitable, of course, to have such schools of thoughts in communities. But we just have to keep engaging in these conversations for them to understand that the jobs that we have or we're fighting for, or we're promoting in communities, they are for each and everyone. So, and everyone is affected by gender inequality. So once they understand that regardless of who you are, we are all affected by gender equality, whether you're a man, woman, trans, or gender diverse person. I think it will help us to understand that we can push for change in these communities. But it is an ongoing debate that is, of course, challenging here in America and in Europe mostly. But we have to keep, of course, joining movements also like He for She. Today I was sharing about the He for She campaign, and some folks were like, what is this? So it's because they didn't know about the campaign, but they were looking at it in a different perspective. But the He for She campaign is part of the UN, and it's a movement that is pushing for gender equality. So they're saying that if we are to achieve gender equality, then we can't leave the boy child, or we can't leave the men or other genders behind. We have to bring them on board to ensure that we move together, because gender equality is a win-win for all of us. So without achieving that, then it means it's going to affect, people in different areas. And today, research has shown that in countries where there is, gender, where there is gender equality, or in campaigns or in different places, you see that there is some sort of happiness that it comes with, and some sort of peaceful societies that it brings, because in the end, everyone is happy about the success of each and every one. But the more we stay with these stereotypes, then they're creating more divide, and that is wrong. We cannot have such a thing in the world. So overall, I believe that we just have to understand that gender equality is our collective responsibility. We owe to future generations.
Thank you, here. You mentioned a lot of initiatives. You mentioned about education programs. There's gender sensitivity. You mentioned about diversity. You mentioned about workshops and all that. My input would be probably changing the education system, because I feel like the education system mostly is literally based on gender roles, on what girl students or boy students should do, something of the sort. I'm not sure where Marjorie has gone, but I'll summarize up for today. We, as I said before, in our modern society, the enduring gender divide remains like a formidable obstacle to progress, despite the strides to equality and all that. So, the divide, this approach, like this proportionately kind of affects women. And, these stereotypes are rooted in like history, in religion, in our society, and contribute to a very range of advanced consequences, including, what you mentioned before, the impacts of on mental health, economic disparities, limited education, and also like career aspiration. The media plays like a significant role in reinforcing like these biases, as I mentioned about Galaxy FM earlier. But at least, however, the various initiatives are at least emerging. We have the UN coming up with the SDGs. We have a lot of organization, rooting everywhere, to fight for women empowerment and all that. So as they challenge these stereotypes. So we have, different programs also that, at least are playing a very huge part to reshape what women are being portrayed as. So recognizing the intersectionality and nature biases and acknowledging the importance of diversity are really very important steps towards like dismantling these stereotypes and fostering like a more equitable and inclusive society. Thank you so much. I appreciate our speakers for today. That was Thierry and Manjre. We always have our Twitter space in the last day or like the last week of each month. I hope
Wait, can I have a parting shot, please, before you?
Oh, of course. I was going to call you on. I was just
Oh, okay.
right.
No, okay, can go ahead. It's fine.
Yeah, I was going to call you on. So we always like have our Twitter space in the last week or the last day. So I guess I'll call on here to give us just the last remarks. Since Manjari is not on. Yes, here.
Yes, everyone. Thank you so much for arranging this conversation, and I want also to thank the listeners in this space and those who listen to this space later on for picking interest in listening about this very important conversation that we've had today. We have to keep the conversation going because we all believe that women's rights are human rights. And we also have to understand that you don't have to be a woman or a feminist to fight for gender equality, but we have to be free-thinking individuals who believe that by the end of the decade, we can be able to achieve gender equality as it is in Sustainable Development Goal 5 of the Global Agenda 2030. These disparities we've shared today, or the stereotypes we've talked about today, are very harmful, not just to women's well-being and advancement, but also to the human progress. So the full human potential and sustainable development can be impacted if we don't engage or address these challenges. So in the end, we have to all agree that what a man can do or any gender can do, a woman can do. So I'll end up by using the quote of Margaret Thatcher, who said that if you want anything spoken about, ask a man, but if you want it done, then ask a woman. So let's embrace the power of women. Let's support women and let's uplift them up to ensure that we achieve gender equality. Because as I said earlier on, that gender equality is a win-win for all of us. I thank you. Arwin, are you there?
Oh, thank you so much. I'd not unmuted, sorry. As here said, empowering women is not only a matter of justice, because it requires an essential step towards creating a fair and more progressive and prosperous society by everyone and everywhere. Thank you so much again, Hilary, and thank you so much for all our guest speakers. In addition to this, we'll be adding on to the topic in our podcast next week with our guest speaker, Brianna, who is the current student body president at Rowan University. So I'll let you all have a blessed weekend and thank you all for listening. Bye-bye here and bye-bye everyone.